The first one is a conduction. So what is the meaning of, I think you have started with conduction also. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Whether my voice is loud and clear?
Sir, we completed conduction. Sir, we were in users of good and bad conductors of heat.
Okay. So these things also we finished. Okay, just wait a minute. Okay, from uses of good and bad conductors of heat, we have to start, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So during the winter season, we generally wear woolen cloths. If we compare them with the cotton cloth, then we will find that woolen fiber has much more space between them. These get filled with the air, which is a bad conductor of heat. Hence, being an insulator, both wool and air together prevents the heat from our bodies from escaping out. So just this paragraph explaining about the difference between the woolen cloth and the cotton cloth during the winter season. Generally, woolen cloth will trap the air, right? The wool will trap the air and the air will act as an insulator. So it will not transfer the heat from the outside to the inside body or from the inside to the out, right? So that we'll feel somewhat warmer when we wear the woolen cloths during the winter season. But what about the cotton? Cotton don't have the capacity to trap the air. Yes or no? So it will act as a conductor. So it will. So from the cotton, the heat transfer will happen. So that's what explaining in this paragraph, first paragraph. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay. Then what about the next one? Also, dew and the sawdust are the bad conductor of heat. We cover the ice with the jute cloth of sawdust to prevent it from the gaining heat from the surroundings and melting. Have seen this anywhere? The sawdust and all?
So sawdust is like the there are pieces, small pieces of wood, sir.
Yeah.
They are like grind type.
So when you cover the ice with the sawdust or the jute bags, what will happen? This sawdust and jute bag will absorb some amount of air or will trap some amount of the air so that the heat transfer will not happen from the outside to the inside, right? And ice will not melt easily. Okay, that is what explained in the second paragraph. Then what about the third one? It's the most common in every household, the refrigerator. So if you take the refrigerator, they have the two walls. So inside wall is an insulating wall so that it will not allow the outside temperature and the inside temperature, right? So whatever the heat is there outside, it will not allow inside, and whatever the coolness is there inside, it will not allow outside. So that is only the insulating material. So whatever the inner wall of the refrigerator is there, it is made up of insulating materials. So it will prevent the flow of heat from the both the sides. And the fourth one is a common thing. Generally during the winter season, we'll use only the single thick blanket. So if you, instead of going for thick blanket, if you use two thinner blankets, what will happen? Between the two thinner blankets, some air will be trapped. That air will act as a insulator. So it will provide us the protection from the cold better than the single blanket. Okay, that is the fourth point. Use of good and a bad conductor of heat. The next one. What about this example? What they're explaining in the example, anyone? Can you explain that example? Harini,
Yes, sir.
read that example paragraph and tell me what you
Okay,
understand
sir.
from that.
During winter season, a metal object kept in a room feels very cold to touch, but a wooden object in the same room feels warmer to touch. Metal object is a good conductor of heat. So when we touch the metal object, it conducts away heat from our hand quickly. And by losing heat, our hand feels cold. On the other side, the wooden object, being a poor conductor of heat, does not allow the heat of our hands to escape and hence feels warmer to touch. So here they're telling that they have kept a metal object in a room during winter season, and like they have kept a wooden block also in the same room, but when they touch the metal object, it is cold, but the wooden object doesn't feel cold because heat runs away from the body when we touch the metal object, but the same heat doesn't run away from our body when we touch a wooden object.
Good. So during the winter season, what will happen? If you take the two objects, one is made up of metal, the other one is a wood. The metal object become cool very fast, right? Because it is a good conductor of heat. At the same time, if you take the wooden object, it will not become too cool or the too hot. Why? Because it will act as a insulator. Wood will act as the insulator, so it will not conduct the heat at all. So the wooden objects will not become too cool in the winter season compared to the metals. The metal will become the too cool. Understanding?
Yeah.
So that's
Yes,
what
sir.
explaining in the example paragraph. So in the last one point, what they are saying, the water and air are the bad conductor of heat. So based upon the water and the land, you can say it as a land, sea breeze and the land breeze, right? Based upon the different amount of heating of the water and the land, it will cause the land breeze and the sea breeze that we'll study in the last. So any doubts in the conduction? Any doubts in this paragraph, conduction and all?
No.
No. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
No, sir, no doubts.
Okay. So next one is the convention. So what is the convention then? The mode of transfer of heat from the hotter part of the fluid to the colder parts by the
It
movement of
is
the
just
liquid.
like conduction only, but it takes place in fluids or liquids.
Okay. So the mode of transfer of heat from the hotter part of the fluid to its colder part by the movement of the liquid or the gas itself is known as a convention. So the transfer of heat by convention takes place only in the liquid and in the gaseous states. Okay. So it cannot take place in the solid state at all. So it is due to the reason that particles in the liquids and gas can move freely. Clear?
Yes,
Is it
sir.
clear? So
Yes.
suppose you're boiling the water in the beaker on a gas stove. What type of mode of heat transfer will takes place?
Convection.
Convection. Good.
Convection.
Convection only, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So because suppose you are keeping the boil beaker with a full of water on the gas stove, the bottom water get heated first compared to the top water. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now what happened? The bottom water will move to the top, and again the top water will come to the bottom in the beaker. So it is a
Yes,
mode
sir,
of,
because the hotter water becomes light and it goes up.
it will light in weight, so it will goes upwards, and the heavy water, that cold water will come downwards. The same way will happen in the atmospheric heat also, right? Heating of the atmosphere. The warm air will rise
Yes,
up
sir.
and the cold air will come and occupy the warm air position. Yes or no? So due to that only the flow of wind will takes place.
Yes, sir.
Already we have studied this on the weather, climate and adaptation topic.
Yes, sir.
So wherever the temperature is very high, the air becomes warmer easily. So it will become lighter weight. It will move upwards and the cold air will come and occupy the remaining position. Okay. So the transfer of heat by convection cannot take place in solids because what is the reason? The particles in the solids are fixed in the place and cannot be moved freely. It is also not occurred in the empty space or the vacuum because there are no particles of any kind in empty space which can move and transfer the heat. Then this point has to explain by the Chaitanya. Chaitanya, what do you understand from that point?
Can you once repeat the point? I wasn't.
Just you can see it on the screen, right? Just you read the point and you give me the answer.
Sir, the convection point, right?
Yeah. Why convection is not happening in the solids? That is a question.
Sir, convection is not happening in pros. Once
Sorry, Chaitanya.
the convection happening in solids because it's
They are telling it's not happening. It's not.
okay, I don't know.
You don't know. Can you see the screen first? Yes.
Sir, I didn't read that point.
No problem. Now itself you read and tell me the answer. You can see here the part, right? Now can you read the highlighted part?
Yes.
Yeah. You just read that
Also
highlighted. First of all, tell me whether my voice is
sir.
clear for you or not.
Yes, sir. Now I'm convection is the process. Convection occurs in the liquids and gases move freely and transfer occurs. But in solids, the particles are fixed in place. So the convection can't take place because they're fixed in space. It can't also take place in vacuum because there are no particles to move.
Okay. So remaining any doubts or anybody who wants to give the answer?
No, sir.
So next one is the convention in water. That's what we studied just now, right? So water is a poor conductor of heat. So due to this reason, it cannot transfer the heat by the conduction, but it transfer the heat by the process of convention. Okay. So based upon that, we can say the land and sea breezes. So what is a land breeze and what is a sea breeze?
Sir,
Yeah. Hello. Hello.
yes, sir.
Whether my voice is clear or it's breaking,
Sir, it's clear.
but nobody's responding when I'm asking.
Sir, can I tell what is language? Sir, can I tell?
Raise your hands. I'll call you one people.
Sir, can I tell?
Yeah, Nikhil. Nikhil, give the answer.
Yes, sir. Sir, in the daytime, when the breeze which comes from the sea is called sea breeze, sir. And in the nighttime, the breeze which comes from the land is called land breeze. Sir, during the daytime, the land heats faster than the water. So the hot air above the land will rise up, and then the cold air above the sea will take the place of the air above the land. And during the night, the land cools faster than the sea. So the cold air above the land pushes the warm air above the sea, and thus It's called as sea breeze
Very
and
good.
land breeze.
So see here properly. So we have the two important terms for the conventional current in the on the globe. One is a land breeze, the other one is the sea breeze. Sea breeze means if the air start moving from the sea to the land, there is a sea breeze. Or if the air is blowing from the sea to land, that is called as a sea breeze. If the air is blowing from land to sea, that is called as a land breeze. First, be clear with the names. Is it clear? What is the land breeze and what is the sea breeze? Sea breeze means what? Blowing of the air from sea to the land. Land breeze, blowing of the air from land to the sea.
Sea.
That is called as a land breeze. Okay. So already I said, suppose during the daytime, what will happen? The land will get hot fast, warm up fast. And the water is a poor conductor of electricity, right? So it will not get warm easily. So whatever the warm air is there near the land, it will rise upwards. So whenever the warm air is rising upwards, there will be creating the low pressure in the land area. And there will be high pressure in the sea area. So always wind will blow from high pressure area to the low pressure area, right? So wind will blow from the sea to the land. So that is called as a sea breeze. Clear now? During the daytime, due to the sun heat or the sunlight, the air near the land will get warmed up easily. So the warm air will rise into the atmosphere and it will create the low pressure belt in that area. So always the air moves from the high pressure area to the low pressure area. Understanding? So the now air moves from the sea place to the land area to occupy the low pressure area. That is only called as an sea breeze. So it will happen during the daytime. What about the land breeze? What about the land breeze? Anyone?
Sir, the wind goes from land to the sea.
Why?
So
During the
because
night time,
the land cools faster than the sea.
the land cools faster than the sea. So there will be whatever the air is there near or above the sea will rise up and will create a low pressure area there. Now the wind moves from high pressure area to low pressure area, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
high pressure will be there in the land area and the low pressure will be created around the sea. Okay, so land to sea it will move. Clear this one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any doubts? Any doubts?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's all about the land breeze and the sea breeze. So next one is the radiation. So what is the radiation? The mode of transfer of heat through which heat energy from the hot body to the cold body by means of heat rays without any material medium between them is known as a radiation.
Yes, sir. So conduction and convection need a medium, but radiation doesn't need a medium.
Good. So if you take the radiation, conduction now and the convention now, there is always some medium will be there for the transfer of heat. But in the case of radiation, there is no medium at all. Okay, the transfer of the heat will happen from the hotter body to the colder body without any medium is called as a radiation. So that is what happening with the help of sunlight and the earth, right?
Yes, sir.
The sun will transfer the energy to the earth with the help of the radiations. There is no medium at all between them. Okay, so the sun heat reaches the earth by process of radiation. The sun is very far away from the earth and there is mainly an empty space vacuum between the sun and the uneven earth. Then the heat from the sun reaches the earth. This is due to the fact that the sun being extremely hot emits invisible heat radiation in all directions.
Good evening, sir. Sorry, sir, I joined late. I was outside.
Okay. So can you tell any other example of radiation apart from sun?
Sir, are electronic devices, sir.
Electronic devices. Good.
Sir, if they conduct too much heat, they give out radiation through air.
Signals we can take
So
as
the
radiation,
sun,
right?
the sun,
Yes, sir.
Sun and the other than the sun and the heat, can you tell me other forms or other example for the radiation?
Light, sir.
Light.
so fire,
Light.
Light gets radiated, sir. Other than heat. In some
so
situations.
fire,
Fire.
Sir,
Sir,
heat
every
from a
single
stove
form of
burning.
heat radiates at least a small amount, sir. Even our
No.
body will radiate some heat.
Yeah. Fire means whatever the air surrounding the fire will warm up, right? So that will happen through convention only. Heating of the liquid or the gaseous substance. That is a convention, right? Okay. So today's your homework is this. Find out the common examples for the conduction process, convention process, and the radiation process. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So what are the examples we just discussed, right? Apart from that, other examples for this conduction, convention, and the radiation. Okay, next paragraph is what? These radiation travel through the vacuum between the sun and the earth at very high speed and ultimately reaches on the earth. Therefore, we can say that the transfer of heat from the hot object to the cold object by the process of radiation does not require any medium. So in our daily life activities, we have many situations where heat is transferred by the radiation through air. Okay. So next one, depending upon the temperature of the surroundings, our body to gives heat to the surroundings and receiving the heat from the surroundings by radiation. That is the first one. Second one is what? If the hot utensil filled with the hot milk is kept away from the flame, if the hot utensil filled with the hot milk is kept away from the flame, then it cools down by the transferring heat to the surroundings by the radiation. So this is the second common example for the radiation. Third one, if we stand next to the burning fire, then we'll feel the heat of the fire falling on our face. The heat is transferred from the fire to our face by the process of radiation. Good. Harini has given this example only.
sir?
Harini or someone has given this example, right? Fire.
Yes, sir. I have given.
Okay, good. So these are the three common examples for the transfer of heat through the radiation process. The next one is a cloth. The drying of the cloths during the summer season and the winter season. What will happen?
Sir, in summer,
So-
people will prefer to wear light clothes as light colored clothes reflect air.
Sorry, it's not about the drying of the clothes. It's all about the wearing of the clothes.
Oh, you asked for drying, sir?
No. Wearing of the clothes itself.
Yes, sir. We would wear white clothes, sir, or lighter colored ones, as it
White.
reflects the air.
No, so black color or dark color clothes attract sunlight, and the lighter colors they reflect sunlight.
Generally, if you take the dark colors, they will absorb the energy or the heat energy from the sun, so that we'll feel somewhat more warmer. But if you wear the lighter colors, right, they will not absorb the heat at all. They will reflect the heat. So we will prefer to use the light color cloths and the cotton cloths during the summer season. But exactly happen will in the winter season. We have to prefer the dark color cloths and the woolen cloths during the winter season to absorb some energy from the outside, especially during the daytime. Okay, so that's all explaining about the cloths here.
So with this, we have finished this chapter. So any doubts in this chapter? Any doubts?
No, sir, no doubts.
No, sir.
Hmm? Okay, shall we have the quiz?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Physical change means what? Change in the physical properties.
Change which can be reversible, sir.
Change in the physical properties such as change in color, shape, size, right? Order
Sir,
or cause in physical change. Yeah, can you hear me or not?
sir, yes, sir. So, like, actually, in our exam portion, they have given matter and chemical formula.
Matter in the,
Matter and chemical formula.
okay.
So, like, will we be doing that chapter also?
I didn't understand what topic you're saying. Matter in the
So,
chemical formula.
matter and chemical formula.
No. Is it there in your syllabus?
Yes, it's there in like my exam portion.
Okay, we'll check it separately. Okay, that's better.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So physical change or the chemical change. So physical change means what? Change in the physical properties such as color, shape, size, order, state, and all. This comes under the physical change. So physical change can be reversible or the irreversible. Both are there. Physical change can be reversible and also irreversible also. And during the physical change, there is no new products at all formed. Yes or no? During the physical change, it will not form any new products. Next, what are the important points about the physical change? We can separate the mixture of the physical change by physical separation techniques. We can separate this physical change object with the physical separation techniques like sedimentation, decantation, filtration, evaporation, and all. So these are all about the physical change. Then what about the chemical change? What about the chemical change?
So you can use evaporation.
You can use evaporating.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next.
Sir, distillation.
No. So chemical change means change in the chemical properties of the substance. So during the chemical change, always it will form the new substance only. During the chemical change, it always forms the new substance. An important point is it is an irreversible change. We cannot reverse it back, right? So chemical change is an irreversible change. Okay.
Okay, sir. So
And
like
roasting of iron, cooking of the food. Okay. Next, photosynthesis, respiration. So whenever the chemical changes happen, it always will form the new products and it is an irreversible process. And whatever the properties of the reactants are there, it is entirely different from the products also. So they are the chemical change. Simple thing I am telling. So this and all is not necessary. So we'll start from here itself directly. So you can see some examples of physical change here. So breaking of the glass, is it the physical change or not?
Yes, sir.
It's a physical change only. But it is a reversible process or irreversible process?
So irreversible.
Breaking of the glass is a physical change and the irreversible process because we cannot make a reverse it, right? Mixing of the candies.
So physical change and reversible.
Physical change and the reversible. Shredding of paper.
So physical change and irreversible.
Physical change and the irreversible. Shredding of the paper. Next, folding paper.
Sir, physical change
Reversible
and
and physical.
reversible.
Physical change and the
Reversible.
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 Melting of ice.
Reversible.
Physical change and
Reversible and the
reversible.
physical change. So all these are the example for the physical change, which can be reversible or the irreversible, but generally it happen only changing the shape, size, color, or the state. State means what? Converting from solid to liquid or the liquid to gas and all. Okay. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So next one is a chemical change. You can see here chemical change. Always will form the new substance only. So burning of wood, rotting of fruits, baking a cake, rusting of metal, using a battery, digestion, storing milk, exploding fireworks, cooking an egg, photosynthesis. All these are the chemical change examples.
So I think only rusting is reversible.
All the chemical change are irreversible only. There
So
is no
because I
reversible.
think rust can be like removed with coke.
Sorry.
So like I've seen a video like rust can be removed by coke.
Okay, I'll tell you clearly. Suppose the rusting of iron is happened now, that means the top layer of the iron will get damaged, right?
Yes, sir.
The iron is converting into the iron oxide. Iron oxide only the rusting. We can remove the rust, but we cannot bring the original metal back, right?
Yes, sir. Okay.
We can remove the damaged part. The damaged part we are losing only, right? It is not coming back to the original form again.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Understand? So all these are the chemical changes only. Chemical change means always will form the new substance only, but it is an irreversible in nature. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Any doubts?
No, sir.
Am I going very fast in this topic?
No, sir.
Tell us directly. Just I'm teaching fast because you know already this topic, right?
Yes, sir, we have studied this.
Yeah.
Yeah, simple topic only, physical change and chemical change. That's what I'm teaching somewhat faster. Otherwise, you can tell I will go slowly only, no issue at all. Tell something.
Sir, you're not going fast.
Only I can hear the only one voice from your side, Harini only. What about the remaining?
Sir, you're not going fast. It's okay. We are understanding.
Okay. Is it boring, class? If you see this bread mold, the fungi will form on this bread mold, right? Is
Yes,
it the
sir, it's
physical change or the
chemical
chemical change? Chemical change, right? So whatever the bacteria or the fungi is there, it will spread along the bread mold and it will damage the bread. So it is a chemical change only. It is not the physical change. Then what is this process? Photosynthesis.
chemical, sir. It changes it changes elements into a different it changes the chemical structure of elements, sir.
It changes the chemical structure of elements.
Yes, sir.
No.
So it
Not
changes
elements, sir.
solar
The
energy.
reactants.
Okay,
It
we
changes solar
are
energy
getting the food. How we are getting the food?
so through our mouth.
Through?
Mouth.
Nice answer. Who is this?
Harini.
Harini. Really, you are getting food through our mouth itself.